In this video, I'm going to run through eBay Simple Delivery to help make you understand how to get the most out of it. So this should be your eBay Simple Delivery definitive guide. So make sure you save this video for later. So I'm going to try and cover it all, and more importantly, I'm going to go through a setting that is going to change the way you use Simple Delivery, because everybody is complaining about this one thing. So this is for private sellers, and as of the 15th of April, all your postage options are going to change to eBay's Simple Delivery service. So it's important that you understand how this is going to affect you and what it means. So in a nutshell, private sellers will no longer be able to choose postage options. It's going to be automatically handled by eBay, and the buyer will pay for the postage label. And right now they get to choose from Royal Mail and Every. So as a private seller, you no longer have to deal with or pay for shipping labels, which I actually consider to be quite a bonus. Now, this hasn't been a mandatory implementation for business sellers yet, but I really do think that's going to change. So eBay's Simple Delivery service means that they automatically choose what they consider to be the correct size and weight for your item, and that's what the buyer pays. So eBay thinks that this is a massive pro for sellers, and I do think there's some real good benefits to actually having this service in place, but there are some cons to it as well, which we will go through shortly. So with eBay automatically choosing the postage options, really you don't have to do much, but it's always best that you double check the sizes and weight that eBay have chosen. So with Simple Delivery, it looks like small parcels are actually a thing of the past, where now the majority of the parcels are 61 centimeters by 46 by 46. Now I actually consider this to be a bit of a bonus. Now going back to making sure that you actually choose the correct parcel size, even though eBay have said that we've done this for you, it's always best to check. Now I actually had a situation recently where my item was actually heavier and larger than the eBay Simple Delivery service I'd already chosen. So your concern would be, are you going to get charged more? Am I going to get charged, or is the buyer going to get charged? Now the Simple Delivery service actually says on their instructions, if your item is oversized or overweight, we've ensured that the courier will accept your parcel. So that for me gives me a lot of peace of mind knowing that the item's going to get there in the end regardless. Now, I was a little bit skeptical at first. I literally had 2 items in the same week that were kind of going to fall under this criteria. But believe it or not, they arrived safe and sound with no additional charges. But I did message the buyer just with a heads up to say, look, there might be additional charges. I'm letting you know, this is a brand new system by eBay. We're all learning, and they were actually quite fine about it, but there was no issues. So it looks like that actually works. So I think the community is a little bit in shock about this. They're a little bit disappointed with eBay. They want to leave, they hate the platform, but hear me out. I really do think there's a lot of benefits to this, and it's really not all bad news. So don't be too hasty in choosing a different platform or wanting to leave eBay. So for the past 2 weeks, I've been choosing eBay Simple Delivery on purpose so I can get used to it. 1, because I wanted to do this video on it, and 2, that I need to be prepared for it for the 15th of April. And I've got to be honest, after 2 or 3 days of using it and understanding it, it's actually a very simple, easy to use process. So I'm going to go through my pros and cons of using eBay Simple Delivery. But before we do that, let me go through some of the positives. Well, all the positives that eBay are marketing around eBay Simple Delivery. eBay says you'll get a prepaid label and a QR code if you haven't got a label printer, which will automatically include the tracking so you get paid quicker. Well, this is a load of rubbish, because you know that if you added the tracking details, you're still going to get paid in exactly the same speed as you would have done before. So this is actually a load of rubbish. Now, if you want to learn more about the private seller fees change, make sure that you check out my video that I did recently on these changes. So eBay says that they'll suggest the correct size and weight for the parcel, and you don't need to worry about measuring or weighing the item. They'll do it all for you. And that goes back to what I said earlier, that you can still post the item because they've organised for the courier to accept it, whether it's overweight or oversized. But I'm pretty sure this would be within reason, because if you sent 2-meter parcel, I'm pretty sure in the T&Cs it'll say you can't. I mean, there are dimensions there, but I reckon a couple of centimeters or an inch over, I actually don't think it's going to make that much difference. But don't hold me to that. eBay says just follow their instructions and drop it off at a local centre. Now this has been the massive bugbearer for most people. What about if you don't use Every? Or what about if you don't use Royal Mail? Now I am going to get to that. There is a really simple setting change that will give you the option to choose one or the other or both. But this seems to be the massive bugbear because not everyone lives close to an Every drop-off centre. They actually also say it's 20% cheaper. They've negotiated discounted rates with with Royal Mail and Every? Well, we are going to come to that in a little bit, but I do believe that some of their parcels are actually cheaper than Royal Mail. But to be honest with you, I actually just love using Royal Mail. But I have seen some definite cheaper prices using their services over the past 2 weeks. So that for me is a massive plus, but it doesn't really affect me anymore, does it? Because I don't pay for the postage charges, but it does mean that the item's a little bit cheaper for the buyer. If you're finding this information useful, make sure you subscribe to Dusty Cartridge. I do industry change videos like this, but I also go to car boots and charity shops. So if you are interested in reselling, make sure you subscribe. So obviously one of the biggest bonuses to this is that they say they will cover all losses and damages to your item. And I know this works for a fact because one of my reseller friends recently had a case opened for a non-delivery. He received an email from eBay to say, don't worry about it, because you've sent it through eBay Simple Delivery, we will handle everything. And you'll be able to request the removal of any neutral or negative feedback due to delivery issues. Right, let's get stuck into the pros and cons of eBay Simple Delivery. We'll start with the pros first, because, you know, let's start with some positivity. So I do believe that some postal services are actually cheaper. Anything up to about 1 or 2 kilos. Oops, what are you doing? Out to here. Oh my God, Ollie. Right, back to it. So some items are actually going to be cheaper. You're going to be able to send bigger parcels for the same price as a small parcel. The buyer's going to get a better price. It's going to make your item a bit more competitive. And it looks like insurance is automatically added depending on the price of the item you sell. This allows them to cover for full loss or damages. So no more paying extortionate insurance fees on your items, which I think is a massive plus because parcel insurance was extortionate. So you just get one price for absolutely everything, and I think it covers you up to £750. So ultimately, there's no more guessing on parcels. eBay's system automatically chooses the correct parcel size and weight for your item, and they take responsibility for it, which I actually think's ideal. Because if it's overweight or oversized, eBay are saying that they have ensured the courier will accept your parcel. And I've got to admit, after using it for 2 weeks, it is quite simple. They automatically select the size and the weight of the parcel. There has been a few items that I've just double checked just in case, because I definitely do not want to get a charge, and I don't want the buyer to get a charge because I believe they've negotiated this tolerance with the couriers. And of course, you no longer have to deal with shipping costs. So you know everything that you receive financially is 100% yours. Right, let's talk about the negatives. The cons. I'm yet to find out how you can send multiple items to one buyer. So I don't know how that's actually going to work. I've not had a buyer purchase more than one item under the Simple Delivery system. If you have, please leave a comment and let me know. I'm actually not too sure how that works. Now, even though before I said that some items are cheaper, I do believe other items are going to be a bit more expensive. The weight seems to jump from 2 kilos to 15 kilos. And I had an item recently that was around 7 kilos, and I'm pretty sure the cost was about £7.50. And of course, with Royal Mail, anything between 5 and 10 kilos is £6.55. So I do think that there is going to be a slight additional charge on certain items when it reaches that kind of weight point, and I reckon it's between 5 and 10 kilos, but there's going to be massive savings if you send heavy items. Now, bearing in mind that the box sizes they're giving you is actually bigger than small parcels, so I think you're going to lose in some and win in others, but of course we're not paying the charges, so it doesn't really matter to us. Now, of course, the biggest uproar through all this is not being able to choose your own courier service, but at the end of this video I'm going to show you a really quick settings change to allow you to choose either Royal Mail, Every, or both. And a few people have mentioned that they're not particularly happy with the fact that their labels now come with marketplace seller. I gotta be honest, it doesn't really bother me that, but I think that's how they're able to identify the tolerance in the weight and the sizes. But let's face it, it's just a name on a label. Who actually really cares? So there is a caveat to the Simple Delivery service. I mentioned before, anything over £750, you're going to be able to choose a courier yourself, and that's the same for anything under £10 or below 100 grams. You're going to get the option to choose the courier, but let's face it, if you want to get paid quickly and you don't want to be scammed, you're going to have to use a track service. So I don't really think that actually changes much, to be honest with you. There might be a 50p or a 20p saving, but I really don't think that makes any difference whatsoever. And plus, it's not even viable to sell anything under £10 now. I've also done a video on the private seller fees change in January, so make sure you check that video out. They've They've obviously negotiated better rates with the couriers and they must be getting a kickback from it. So don't think private sellers are going to be the only ones enforced to use this service. I think it's going to come for business sellers without question. Now, what's going to happen with free postage? I actually haven't got a clue. I don't have anything with free postage, but I'm going to assume, and drop a comment and let me know if you sell anything with free postage, because I'm interested to find out. But I'm just going to assume that the same postage charge applies to your account. It's still simple delivery, and rather than the buyer paying for it, you're going to pay for it, because that just makes complete sense. And what if you're sending items abroad? Well, you're going to have to use the global shipping program, which I'm sure isn't a major deal. It just means you can't send them direct, but you're completely covered with a GSP. You send the item to the local hub and they handle the rest. Again, I don't see that being an issue, and I just consider that to be less hassle for me. Now, obviously, one of the major cons in eBay Simple Delivery service is not being able to choose your own courier. When this was announced, that for me was the major issue. And for the past 2 weeks, not really understanding the process, I've been bloody driving absolutely everywhere, dropping off parcels, which for me is ridiculous because they're enforcing you to drive around more, waste more time, waste more petrol, and actually hurting the environment. Now, surely they have a carbon footprint policy. Now, it'll be interesting to see where this falls in line. Now, I'm getting a little bit out of scope here, but it's all really valid points. Like I said, this is a manageable change. At the end of this video, I'm going to take you to a setting which will allow you to choose Royal Mail or Every, or if you're really into it, both. But ultimately, not having the choice to choose the courier you want was a massive flaw in this system. I only use Royal Mail, and I actually drop my parcels off at the sorting centre, and they don't even weigh them, they don't even size them, they just scan them and drop them off. But now I'm having to go to a post office because I've got me Every parcels. But like I said, I've got a change that will help you eliminate that. What I want you to do is go to your top left and click Account Settings. Scroll down to Postage Preferences. Click on that, and from there you'll see Simple Delivery, where it'll say Select Courier Options. You'll see Every and Royal Mail. So look, I hope you found this video useful. As you can see, there's some major pros and some major cons to it, but overall, honestly, I've used it for 2 weeks and I'm pretty comfortable with it now. I'm happy with the fact that they take all the hassle away from me and I don't have to worry about paying for postage. It's all handled by them. I've sent a couple of items that were overweight and oversized and they arrived fine. Look, I'm interested to see what you think. Is Simple Delivery the end of eBay, or do you think you can get used to it? Do you think it's a bonus? Drop a comment and let me know. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on eBay Simple Delivery. But not only that, if there's another video you'd like me to do, drop a comment and let me know if there's anything you'd like me to discuss. Now, I might be alone here, but I actually think eBay Simple Delivery is actually quite convenient. I think it'll save the buyer some money, it's going to make it more convenient for the seller, and there's going to be a gain in a few items that are kind of between that 5 and 10 kilo over a small parcel size. So I might be alone, so don't unsubscribe if you think that I'm an absolute idiot for thinking that eBay Simple Delivery is actually quite convenient. Drop a comment and let me know, what problems have you faced? What benefits have you found from using eBay Simple Delivery? I'm really interested to find out, and I typically always reply to comments. If you don't follow Dusty already, make sure you follow Dusty Cartridge. I produce content like this with industry changes on eBay, and I will be introducing other platforms soon. And if you like charity shopping and car booting, you will absolutely love the content I produce on a weekly basis. And always check out my shorts. I typically post 2 shorts every single day, and they usually contain either my retro gaming collection or cool, profitable items I find at car boot sales and charity shops. Until next time, happy hunting, happy reselling, and I will catch you on the next video. Take it easy. Outtake. Oh my God, Ollie.